The Sonic Show's Opinion Zone, Act 4.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new podcast. We have with us our lovely panel of podcasty people, along with a guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, me, mystery person. Hello, I'm VizardJeffhog. Some of you might know me better as one of the staffers at the Sonic Stadium, and that music album guy. Hi.
And, of course, we have the rest of our panel of awesome people. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Jamie, the Eggman, owner of everyone.
Is that your intro?
Yeah. Good intro, Jono.
Fine then. My intro is, hello, I'm Jono. I'm also a new staffer on the Sonic Stadium. I also make videos and stuff, and I own a Sonic Off trophy, but Jamie doesn't.
You're banned.
We just started.
I'm Pete, otherwise known as TitansCreed or Project Phoenix, depending on where you know me from. I have a YouTube channel called Project Phoenix Productions.
Howdy all, I'm Tom. You'll remember me from such classic verses as T and the last episode.
Hello, I am Fuad. I rarely come to life on the Sonic Show. And yeah, I'm here again for an opinion zone. Woo.
All right, so today's Opinion Zone is about something that pretty much is the most base-breaking, controversial, yes, thing that has happened in the Sonic fandom in a number of years, which is saying something. We're going to be talking about the Sonic Boom redesigns and the reveal of the new TV show and game. So I think first, right off the bat, we'll go with the biggest thing, which is the redesigns.
So many mixed feelings.
That's the thing. It is
in 2 weeks.
So mixed feelings.
Ever felt like no matter what you do, you're not quite strong enough?
I sure don't want to fall off.
Need something to give you that edge?
What is this place?
Follow the pros and get more from strength, power, endurance.
Okay, let's go.
Feed your body with LA Whey Protein by LA Muscle. Great tasting. So remember, the next time you hit the gym, be ever ready to train harder. LA Way, no need to think.
Give it your best shot.
I've never seen something
Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
What did they do to Knuckles?
Tom, do you realise how much bulking up you're going to have to do to cosplay as him next summer or something?
I actually said that to him the other day, because I was playing Monster Hunter with him the day it was released, and I said, Tom, I really want to see you cosplay Butch Knuckles. I want to see you do it.
Is it bad that
serious
I
gains?
started a gym recently? I'm working on upper body strength as well.
Good,
I got
you
rid
don't
of
have to
2
do
weeks
anything on
thanks
the
to
legs.
Master Emerald.
Just
Yeah, I'm
don't
looking
touch
at
your
I saw it.
Does not have a
As
leg
long as you
day.
work out your arms, don't touch your legs and you'll look it.
All right,
How does
so
that-
I think we should go from one character to the next, and each of us, our initial impressions of each of them. First off, main character, Sonic. My impression of him is I actually like this redesign. Other than the blue arms, I really enjoy it. I think it's a nice sort of evolution, and it makes him different enough to know it's Sonic Boom without completely compromising his look. I did read in an interview, though, that the blue arms was specifically put in to make sure people know that this is Sonic Boom Sonic and not modern Sonic, so it was a deliberate move. So because of that, I'm totally fine with him. But
I don't have an issue with the blue arms. What I do have an issue with, and I don't know if anyone's noticed it, in some of the footage, especially the game footage, and you know how he's got these extra, like, mini spines?
Yes,
Like,
yeah, I've
on,
noticed
like,
that.
he's got one on the middle, on the top of his forehead.
Yeah.
It looks like it doesn't belong. It looks like it's put there by accident. Like, it looks like a strand of cheese string or something. It just looks...
It's. I think it's there to try and make him look like he's got that cool little swathe bit of hair in front of his face at times, so he can just do that cool. You can see it coming in one of the episodes of the TV show. He's just gonna come to a dead halt. It's just gonna go in front of his face. He's gonna do that kind of hero pose, blow it out of his eyes thing.
Yeah.
Just like a.
I mean, the second I saw the redesign, I like it all around. I mean, it's disheveled. It's not exactly proper. It's more... I don't know. I mean, I just like the whole disheveledness of it all. I mean, Sonic doesn't exactly look clean. He looks like he's been places. He looks like all he does is run. I mean, it shows in his quills and his little hair. Basically, it's all messy. It's just like, I don't know. He sort of lets the wind do the job. I don't know. Like, I guess the wind is his hairdresser.
Just don't go fast.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and the blue arms. I mean, it's a good idea to have them there to differentiate from the main canon Sonic. So that's good. Bandages. Okay, bandages.
No. Sports tape.
Sports tape, right.
So much tape.
Sports tape.
That's not bondage. That's bondage tape.
No.
The only reason
Tom would get that.
I love
I
that.
call it sports tape simply because some dude on Twitter just called it sports tape. Oh, is that the only reason everyone's calling it that?
Yeah.
I have no problem.
I honestly don't have a problem with the redesigns. I mean, this hasn't blown up to the same proportions of Green Eyes, I think, but then I haven't been on the internet as much as, that I was during the Green Eyes phase. But the Blue Arms thing, when I looked at that, I just thought, Tails' arms that match his fur, Knuckles' arms that match the rest of him. They've clearly just done it just to keep the colour of the whole thing going. It's not that hard a thing to see. I read in an interview the scarf is mostly to do because it's Naughty Dog stuff. They've all worked on stuff where the characters had a scarf and it just fits. And I haven't got a problem
It's a
with that.
trademark, basically.
Exactly.
First,
and the sports tape, I'm not overly fussed with. I mean,
first they took our black eyes, then they took our pale arms.
What's next?
I think Amy's is one of the more interesting redesigns.
Yes. I personally think Amy, like, her actual design itself got very, very little change, aside from maybe the fact that she has Rouge the Bat type eyelashes now, and they're perpetually in that sort of sexy half shut, which really bothers me.
What I like about the Amy one is not so much I mean, obviously they've changed the look of her outfit and stuff, but the way they've changed her design suggests much more of a change in personality as well as just her appearance.
In a way, the kind of sort of vibe I get from it is, do you remember Sonic the Comic, Amy?
the more it's not a word I really like to use in terms of, but the more feminist. She's not so repressed and female Amy. She's more got that.
She's more part of the
got-
team, Amy.
She's got some kind of
more
edge to her.
teammate. Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it. I mean, I've just gone onto the Sonic Boom website to actually have a look at the Amy thing, because I'm still trying to work out if it's meant to be a one-piece or a dress type thing, and I just noticed that instead of a belt, they gave a sports tape around the waist.
All right, so next up is Tails. I think, personally, he's not really changed that much, other than his goggles and his tool belt. I think he's the least changed of the bunch, and I think that's fine. I think Tails was already a pretty well-established character, and this just, kind of further puts his mechanic nature, and other than that, it's good.
One thing I've also noticed about Tails, which I don't think I've actually noticed before, is that he's actually got much longer gloves now, so, he's got, it's almost like long rubber gloves he's got on.
Yeah.
Workers' gloves, yeah. Looking at Tails, he sort of reminds me of the blacksmith Tails from Sonic and the Black Knight a little bit.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I think the goggles do that.
And okay, finally we come to the elephant in the room, or rather the echidna in the room, and that is Knuckles' redesign. Let me start by saying I don't hate it. I think that, yes, it's a big change, but it's exactly that. It's a change. I'm fine with it. Then again, I'm fine with most changes, with the exception of something coming up later. But
I actually agree. I'm perfectly fine with it. I have a feeling that his head does look a bit out of place on on the static images, but when we see it in action, it'll be fine. I have a feeling people wouldn't be so out of place about the lack of a neck if he had something like a scarf, like Sonic has. I'm also rather entertained by the fan base that after the Sonic fan movie and the fingers incident, not a lot of people have complained about the fingers showing on these gloves.
Yes, I was going to say that.
I'd like to see the model in action instead of just having a static image at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a static image, I think the head looks out of place compared to the others.
Yeah, but if anything, I just have this to say. First, they took our skinny arms. Then they stole our Lego shoes.
the lack of Lego
franchise
shoes
is
made me
dead.
sad.
The fan base is done.
Yep,
Nah,
it's
but
done.
overall, same as just about all of you. Knuckles redesign, I can dig it. I can dig it. Just need to see it in action. The head, just ugh.
Yeah.
But all around, not bad. I dig it.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna get shot for this, but I really like it. I think the same way I feel with Tails, how he looks more the part now, like the big brute of the group.
It follows the natural evolution for the characters.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to accept this as something different.
7 minutes earlier.
What did they do to Obviously, I think the key thing where people was getting all upset and angry was when they thought this is the new main canon, rather than anything else.
If I can have just a few tiny additions to Knuckles or changes just to fix it a little bit, not even the body type. What it is for me is it's the fact that in the game footage at least, it looks like his knuckles are like not part of him, but like like he's wearing metal knuckles underneath the band.
I know what you're saying. It's like something he's just wearing over his hand. As much as we know, they were always just part of the glove anyway. We don't know they were actually part of his hand. I mean, there's no, I don't like to use the word canonical, but there is no canonical thing to show that they were actually part of his hand to begin with.
That's true.
But my head cannons.
Your head cannons can live on fan.
Well, even though Tikal is the only female he can not go by, I mean, we don't see her with Knuckles, do we?
Okay, now on to the final redesign, one that was shown off a little bit later, and that is Eggman himself, not Robotnik, as a lot of people are still complaining about for some reason.
Oh my god.
Eggman's
Seriously.
redesign. Let me just, when I look at the new redesigns for all the other characters, I feel like they're like an evolution for them, but I feel like Eggman is a real step back and to the side, where it feels like it's akin to his original design, but mixed with some new elements, and I really like that.
His uniform, actually, it reminds me a little bit more of the dictatorial Robotniks from Stat AM, Adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog, It reminds me a little bit of that. It's not just a color scheme, but how it's all arranged. It seems more like, I'm here, I'm the boss, basically, not just like a mechanic's uniform.
Yeah, I agree.
One very interesting comparison somebody made was that I think they said that he looked a bit like like a Red Baron pilot, which I thought was actually a really nice kind of sort of parallel.
All right, actually, we did get to hear at least Eggman, as I sort of segue into the TV show part, in the animated short that they put up, which is sort of like a pilot to the TV show, if you will. Yeah. And one thing that I noticed, other than Tails, they're doing different voices. It sounds like.
Yeah, I can explain that. Mike Pollock actually answered it on his Facebook. Instead of what they do in the normal thing of VAing, which is just record their lines, soullessly in individual things to each scene, the VAs actually recorded all their stuff in the same room.
Oh, really?
So
together.
They bounce, they bounce off each other better.
Oh,
so,
I was going to say
the reactions
it did sound a lot like certainly the voice direction is certainly a lot different. And if I'm being honest, it actually sounds probably the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah. I loved what I've heard in the pilot. I'm in love with it, really.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of it.
I mean, from what I've seen of the pilot, from the pilot so far, obviously, as we've all covered already, basically the whole voice acting bouncing off one another and it flows a lot better. Really does make this feel much more enjoyable to watch.
Oh, there's still one redesign that we haven't talked about, though.
Yes?
The Eggmobile.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing I'm most unhappy about, to be honest, more than anything else. But I don't know if it's from a nostalgia point or something else. So
yeah.
Is it because it doesn't have the industrial tape around the side? This one's more like a hover jet, and he's got his rear end completely exposed.
And it's only little walk-in place. You need to make a quick getaway, just run to the back of the mobile, then bam, he's already walking on and off he goes.
I can definitely see this working with...
It's more ready to go sort of thing.
It's definitely something you could see in the game.
Speaking of the games, they announced that there are games coming out of the Sonic Boom franchise, both for the Wii U and 3DS, this being the third and final installment of the Nintendo contract thingy
Yeah, doesn't the game serve as a prequel to the show, actually?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
That has been
Because
confirmed.
actually,
I did not know that.
one thing you... Well, yeah, I think that was announced somewhere. But yeah, one thing you could almost argue is that the success of one could influence the success of another. So the game might absolutely bomb, but the show might be popular enough to warrant, keeping it alive, or vice versa.
Well, I think we should establish that it is being done by Red Button Games, which...
Big Red Button.
Big Red Button, pardon me. Which...
And Sanzaru games for the 3DS,
Yes.
if anybody cares.
So,
But I don't know. I think it's going to be good. The gameplay... I don't know. It hasn't shown anything I'm not... it hasn't shown anything that has dissuaded my satisfaction. I'm actually more interested to see where this is going more than I have been Generations and everything else. I'm more hyped up for it more than anything else.
Okay, and one thing that I actually like is that they actually expand on their own abilities. I mean, Tails, I don't think we've really seen what he can do other than just fly at the moment. Knuckles, his climbing has basically expanded. I mean, it's not just scaling up walls; he can scale like ceilings. He can just just punch the ceiling and just climb across. Amy, she can use her own hammer to spin and vault around poles, and it's just. It's getting me hyped up, to see their abilities, their skills. It's been expanded on. I can't wait to play as that.
If you think about it from this angle, obviously we understand the company's worked on the Ratchet and Clank, the Uncharted series, and stuff like that. You can definitely tell from the scenery alone. There's aspects of these games.
You're right. It does very much feel like I suppose this might not be the right way to sort of call it, but it does feel like a very Western sort of developed game. It's kind of got that feel to it. You can see it with Ratchet and Clank, you can see it with Sly Cooper, you can see it with Jak and Daxter. This has got that sort of same sort of atmosphere to it.
Obviously, the last Western Sonic game made, and correct me on this, was Shadow the Hedgehog.
I think it was. Yeah, it was mostly handled by Shadow the Hedgehog was developed by Sega Studio USA. The now defunct United States division of Sega Sonic Team. So yeah, it was made in the
wonder why.
So obviously, since we've established that Shadow the Hedgehog was more of a Western game, you can tell by
They were kind of trying to target a different audience, though.
well, we do know that this has been in development for quite a while, because wasn't it in a Unreal Engine test video, at least the environments for it?
Cry 3 engine.
Cry 3,
Cry
that's
3.
the one, not Unreal. The Cry 3 engine. And you actually, in the video that came out, I think, was it 2012, was it?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, it actually had footage, well, at least the environments, from Sonic Boom. So we know it's been in development since at least 2012, which is actually
with that building
kind of
with the
surprising. I didn't actually think that it was in development for this long, but...
Oh, now we know.
All right, so have any of you watched the Game Explain video for Sonic Boom, perchance? In the trailer, there was a split-second thing that showed that there is, even with Sonic, ground combat where Sonic actually kicks and punches as opposed to just using his homing attack. So
You mean the very short clip when the camera's locked on Amy doing her
she does
tornado thing?
Yeah, and then if you look, Sonic does a double kick, very reminiscent of his up smash not up smash, but up tilt in Smash Bros. Brawl. So, I want to know what's your opinion on Sonic actually fighting as opposed to just bouncing on opponents.
Well, it adds more variety anyway. I mean, you can only get used to bouncing for so long if it's going to be an entirely 3D environment game, not exactly like Generations where you go fast all the time. But this is a game where you slow down.
All right, so I think in the last department of what we can talk about is the well, maybe not the last, but the graphics themselves, more specifically the models, which to me personally is the most lackluster thing of the footage we got so far. And because it really feels like after seeing the CG models, CG art, and seeing how he looks in the TV show, seeing Sonic in the game right now, he looks really bad. I'm talking...
I think there's this one... Yeah, there's this one shot of them, kind of sort of going around... Yeah, they're all surrounded, and Sonic just looks... Well, he looks like a bean sprout.
And Tails looked like he was ready to cut a bitch.
There's that
Knuckles
one
kind of
picture
like
I think that's in the
chubby
trailer
chipmunk.
for the game where it's the whole surrounded by badniks, whatever you want to call them at this stage, and Sonic's like ducked down and his legs are really super stretched out, and that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
I know.
Like I say, if you look at Knuckles, he kind of looks like a fat-faced chipmunk.
Yeah, Knuckles really didn't look good in motion here.
One thing I want to say is like the style of the game does seem a little different from the show. If you like, the show has a very it's not as colorful in a way.
All we got of the show is the desert at the moment, though.
Yeah, like I haven't seen enough of the show or the game, and with the game, I haven't seen enough of it to really feel like if the models complement the design.
Speaking of the location quickly, for the cartoon series, at the very beginning, am I the only one that had a nostalgia feel for Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote?
No, I got it too.
All right, so I think we can talk about now the fact that it is on the Wii U, and the fact that
So no one's going to play it.
well, there's
I'm gonna play
there's
it.
that.
You shut your mouth.
But,
I'm going to play it.
The fact that it does use and has been confirmed to use the gamepad in a, quote, creative manner. Well,
Oh no!
One way of
you-
which, though, we know is for the two-player co-op, one player will use the screen on the gamepad as their own screen as opposed to split screen. There is no split screen. That has been confirmed.
I don't know. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it and if they do it properly. I would have preferred there to be like a 4-player local co-op, like throughout the main story. I think that would have been really good because I don't think there's been a lot of games with it which have actually managed, a 4-player local co-op, but 4-player co-op in general.
Other than Mario 3D World, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's a different thing, you know. It's what's the right way to put it? I mean, 3D World is that everybody's always going forward. I mean,
You mean like an exploratory 4-player?
yeah.
I think
I mean, the only way they could do it would be a split screen. I understand that, but
I think the problem with that, though, is like, for instance, if there is, 4 characters exploring at once, and for instance, one character goes through a door, and they all go through separate doors to different areas, the Wii U would have to load 4 separate entire areas at once, and I don't think it's possible for that to do it personally. So I think even at most, they did confirm that in the 2-player co-op, the characters will be tethered together, almost like Knuckles Chaotix, with the Enter Beam, where if they get too far apart, then they will be like spring back together. But they did.
When I read tether, my mind instantly jumped back to chaos.
That's I think everyone thought back to that. But they did say that you can use that to your advantage. For instance, say
momentum.
Get momentum, so you could do the Knuckles Chaotix sort of spring thing. But you can also, like, for instance, trip an enemy if you're so far and then the cable's between and you sort of run, and you can trip the enemy with the Enter Beam. So they did say that there are going to be some creative uses for it, and it won't be so much a drawback as it is an advantage with stuff for you to do with it.
Now, there's one thing I've been looking at carefully, and it's like the designs and the artifacts in the background of this ruin, and obviously this massive Echidna statue. Am I the only one that sees Sonic Chronicles here?
Can we not talk about that game ever? I mean,
no, let me finish. Let me explain.
Electronic Arts!
No. Yeah, but in the final level, so to say, in the new Echidna Stronghold, some of the relics and designs are similar to what we see here, and for some reason this Echidna statue looks awfully familiar to some, because I don't know, I just can't put my finger on it. He looks like there's something familiar about him.
No, like
I'm gonna have to take another look at it.
That's totally a valid
could
point.
be-
The thing is, it has been confirmed that, number one, Eggman is not the main villain, and instead it is something that they said is more menacing. So I don't think it's going to be an echidna, personally.
Chaos.
Didn't they say it was an ancient evil type thing again? Like we're looking at the whole point of chaos, dark Gaia.
It's far of a stretch.
I'm going to say it's an ancient evil because just going off of all the evidence and them saying like, yeah, it is. It's Eggman isn't the main villain. It is something bigger and more menacing. And whenever it's something bigger and more menacing,
I'm hoping they learn. Because they did that. They listened to the fans. Oh, why does it always have to be big, evil, scary monster? Why can't we
Monsters
just
of the Week?
And then we fought Eggman in Generations as the main bad guy, even though the story was convoluted as hell.
Yeah.
And the Lost World ending story was convoluted as hell to fight Eggman, but
his colors was pretty straightforward.
It was there. We did it, but do they really, really want to go back to let's fight big evil monster as the big bad?
I personally would like it. I think it's always a fun sort of conclusion. Yeah, it's completely contrived and troporific.
Maybe you are the focus group for this, Tanner. Maybe you are this Western focus group. They're making this game just for you.
Maybe you are the 6 to 11-year-old.
Yep.
So I guess at this point, do we have any closing remarks about the Sonic Boom? I guess franchise, you could say, as a whole. Any final marks?
One thing we'll have to keep in mind with the cartoon, though. I'm pretty sure the game is pretty much targeted towards everybody, but the show itself is targeted mainly to 6 to 11-year-old boys. I don't know. Just something in that demographic that we got to keep in mind when it comes to criticizing it. It doesn't mean that, of course, if it's a bad story, it's a bad story, and if it's a good story, it's a good story. Of course, it depends on how it's told, but just, I don't know. I hope nobody would be too critical about the show, but I don't know. When
it comes to the show, I am looking at it as a Boom version of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. When it comes to the game, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna enjoy the game for what it is, the same way I did in Lost World. My only hope is that it doesn't bomb so hard that we get what Sonic fans want. The game each year, but with enough development time behind it, so it's not a pile of steaming doo-doo on your desk.
I'm glad to see Sega are actually, after 2 decades, they're actually willing to try something different, as drastic as this. It's important that they do regenerate themselves, because, especially to keep children, because it's a Sonic. It does aim itself at kids. That is the future audience. What kids like back when we were young is different to what they want now. I'm pleased that they're at least trying. Whether it'll work is a whole other matter, but pat on the back to them for giving it a go.
Definitely.
One interesting question, now I think about it, is, let's say Boom is a huge success. The TV show just kicks off, the merchandise just sells, everyone's into it, the game sells Wii U's, and Wii U becomes a success. If it does hugely well, how will that affect the original canon and the original Sonic? If that's no longer the popular one, because let's face it, Sonic Lost World didn't sell amazingly well, would they then refocus their energies onto the new Sonic and less on the old Sonic?
Sega of Japan, Sega of America. There was a huge rift in between, which led to different canons and different branches of Sonic. Just today, the whole franchise, the whole company, it feels a little bit more unified than it did, even with the new sub franchise Sonic Boom coming up. Back then they were just more. They had their own plans. They were more separate. Here, it almost seems like they're all trying to work together on it. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling on at this point.
No, I know what you're saying, Jeff. There always will be that rift between East and West, and there's nothing that's ever going to change that. So
it's not as big as it was. So I don't think if there's going to be some sort of a breach in between when it comes to different canons, and with one melting into the other, and Japan wanting its own thing. Just more or less.
We'll have to see, really. I don't think there's anything than just sitting there and waiting.
See, I think going back to your question, Jay, of what happens if it's more successful, than the Japanese franchise. And I know I'm going to get called out because I'm bringing up now a Nintendo example, but something very similar happened with the Metroid franchise, where the Prime games were given out to, the Metroid series was given to an American studio, Retro Studios, and those did phenomenally well. Japan, they had their own take on it, which was Metroid Other M, which a lot of people know is a terrible game. And it sort of further cemented the fact that the Western studio did better.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that it's more like Nintendo, they learned their lesson on that front.
My concern with
Regrettably
Sega,
so.
especially Sega of Japan, is I don't think they do learn their lesson. I think they repeat their mistakes numerous times. They could easily say, Sonic Boom was a great success, but it wasn't ours, so we're just going to stop it right there and keep what we were doing before.
And that's how the Dreamcast died.
Exactly.
Now, do we have any actual final remarks to end the conversation?
I'm very, very hopeful about Sonic Boom as a whole. I'd like to see it succeed. I think it's going to be a success all around. The show, it looks genuinely funny, at least to me. And the game, I'm sure, of course, it's pretty early in development, so I can't. Yeah, but yeah, I think the game looks good. It looks good. I mean, it looks good. It looks to play pretty well, but yeah, hopeful all around. Like to see it. I'd like to see it succeed, and yeah, just going around in circles. So Sonic Boom, 100% got my vote. Even the designs. Yes, Buffles, you can stay.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm really hopeful the same way. I want to see this get further. I want to see where they're going to go with this if it succeeds. I'm so curious. I'm really happy. Like what Jamie was saying earlier, I'm happy to see that they're stepping out of their boundaries. They're starting something really new. Like, they're doing something different. It's exciting.
I'm going to buy some sports tape.
I've said my piece already. I hope it does well. I've got good hopes for it. I haven't been as hyped for a Sonic game. Well, just a franchise shifting attempt as it has been, for quite a long time. So I'm hoping it does well, but I'm also hoping it doesn't have any long-lasting effects on the Sonic situation as a whole. And I still hope that we see a Boom game one year, then a main canon game the next, and then back to a Boom game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I want to see what it brings, but I hope it doesn't bring any long-lasting issues.
I was sceptical of this to begin with, but given the fact that I've now sat back and actually thought things through, had a look at things properly, rather than just on spontaneous first opinions and looks, the cartoon series is something I think the Sonic franchise itself really needed. But going on to the game, I want to see what happens with it. Give it in a couple of months, we'll probably get more footage, we'll probably get more gameplay, even a opening cutscene or something, like we did with Lost World. But all in all, I'm happy with where it's going. Bit skeptical here and there, mainly Knuckles' design, but I'm willing to give it a chance.
Okay, as for me, well, for a start, the TV show I'm absolutely sold on. I have got no doubt that I'm going to love the TV show. So yeah, I can't wait to see that. The game, it certainly has got a long way to go, but I think that'll be tightened up with, with development. I've got faith in Big Red Button Studios and Sanzaro, of course, to sort of pull it off. Designs I'm pretty happy with. Knuckles took some getting used to. I'm still technically getting a bit used to it, but everyone else I'm happy with. And the other thing I'm looking forward to is the merch, of course, because I'm just a stupid merch addict which buys anything with Sonic's face on it. So yeah, I'll look forward to that too.
And finally, my opinion, I was very sort of skeptical at first, especially with the silhouettes, but I have gotten used to it. And even when we didn't know that this was replacing the franchise, we thought it might be, I was like, okay, I could get used to it. But now that we know that it's a separate canon, even if it does do well, awesome. We have our own separate canon that, that will show things in a different light. And if it doesn't do well, okay, we put it to the side and never talk about it again. So we'll have to see how it goes. Overall, I'm excited, and yeah, I think I agree with what everyone here basically said. I have nothing to contribute. But if you guys, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to our listeners, have anything you want to say, feel free to write a comment or leave a review on the website about how you loved our beautiful conversations. And
sexy listening.
Yes. Until next time, let's sign off one by one. I'm Tanner.
I'm VizardJeffhog.
I'm Jay Egge Mann.
I am TitansCreed, a.k.a. Pete Nethercoat. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm Jono.
I'm Tom.
I'm Fuad.
And we will see you on the next Opinion Zone. Ciao.
And that was the Sonic Show's Opinion Zone. Copyright Disco Ponies Productions. Sonic the Hedgehog is copyright of Sega Corporation. Published material and comments are those of the respective persons and not of the Sonic Show. All rights reserved. Thanks for listening.
Fingers!
Really?
Screw you, Tom.
That's low-hanging fruit, Tom. You go right for that?
Tails!
Really?